Sonic the Hedgehog. It's a name that's synonymous with Sega's success in the early to mid 90s. You'd see the little blue blur on everything from the Genesis and Mega Drive, the Master System, the portable Game Gear, and even the Sega CD. When the announcement of Sega's new 32-bit system became official, it was a foregone conclusion that a brand new chapter in the Sonic universe would launch with it. The Saturn would go on to receive a number of Sonic games, but none of them were what we were expecting. In this episode, we are going to take a look at the Sonic games that did, and didn't, come to Sega's 32-bit machine, the Sega Saturn. It was no surprise when the Saturn launched in Japan in November of 1994 without a Sonic game. The Sonic franchise had found very little success in the land of the rising sun, and Sega of Japan was forging ahead full steam with its arcade IPs like Virtua Fighter and Daytona USA. The system's early launch in North America the following year was a bit different, however. Sonic was expected on Sega hardware in this region, and his absence from the lineup was a peculiar change for a company that had released multiple Sonic games every year since its debut. Even the back of the box for the North American hardware lacked any branding at all for a Sonic title. Not even a placeholder bullshot was there. We'd finally learn of Sega's work on Sonic X-Treme in early 1996. A reveal that included video footage of Sonic running around stages viewed through a weird fisheye lens and running up and down walls. What was shown looked incomplete, nowhere near ready to make a 1996 launch date. And boy, did we have no clue just how bad things were. Sonic X-Treme had been in development at Sega Technical Institute in the United States, and had gone from a Genesis project, to a 32X project, to finally a PC and Saturn project. It had been ripped into different engines by different teams, with even a third-party developer coming in to try and pull it all together. Internal strife within the development teams caused numerous problems, and once Sega of Japan executives caught a glimpse of the messy engine and gameplay, they made everything worse by demanding a new direction. Sonic X-Treme was finally suspended in late 1996 due to the lead developer becoming ill and having to drop out of the project, leaving the Saturn with no mainline new Sonic platformer for the new 32-bit hardware. Sega was quick to act, however, taking its new isometric 16-bit Sonic project and porting it to the Saturn. Developed by Traveler Tales and released in November of 1996, Sonic 3D Blast would come to the Saturn with an improved color palette, additional effects, a new soundtrack, and the addition of 3D bonus stages done by Sonic Team themselves. It's a game that, taken at face value for its gameplay and content, isn't bad at all. It plays well enough with the 3D analog pad, and the concept is simple and easy to get into. It has some good music, and later stages has some pretty good challenge to make sure the longevity and replay value is there. But this was a 16-bit Sonic game at heart, and it fails to deliver on the next generation expectations that had been so well defined by games like Mario 64 around the same time. You can't deny the game's charm, however. You rescue cute little birds called Flickies from their captors. Stages are laid out for exploration, and while Sonic can move around pretty fast, haphazardly ping-ponging around the environment will usually mean unwanted damage. Once you collect the Flickies for the given area, you'll move on to the next. Hidden away around the stages are 3D bonus areas, where you can try and score a Chaos Emerald. Curiously, this was an extremely late release in Japan, coming out much later and in small numbers. It's also much more expensive there, typically going for 3 times the US version's $25 asking price. This isn't the Sonic game I wanted, but it definitely will have an appeal to those of you wanting a fun and easy to get into experience. With the Sega brand reeling in the face of stiff competition from both Sony and Nintendo, Sega decided to try and recapture the old magic of Sonic during the 16-bit era by releasing Sonic Jam, a compilation of Sonic 1, Sonic 2, Sonic 3, and Sonic & Knuckles. Released in mid-1997 and developed by Sonic Team, this was meant to reintroduce the world back to Sonic as a lead character in the industry. As a compilation of Sonic's Genesis and Mega Drive adventures, it's a pretty good package. Individually, each one of these games hold up well and play great. They even have a few extra features such as being able to attach Sonic and Knuckles to the other games in the package, and the addition of the Spin Dash in Sonic 1, and even a few new difficulty modes. The visual and audio quality of these ports is solid overall, but some ugly slowdown does rear its ugly head from time to time, and some of the sound effects can come across a bit different. Otherwise, all these games still look and play great, and are worthwhile additions to the Saturn library. Perhaps the most interesting addition to the package was the Sonic World mode. What you're seeing here is actually the roots of what would become Sonic Adventure on the Sega Dreamcast. This fully 3D and explorable area allows you to get a taste of what a 3D Sonic may have played like had Sonic Team always had the reins during development of Sonic X-Treme. Contained within this world are hubs with various extra modes as well. You can do stuff like listen to the sound effects and music from the various Sonic games presented here, look at art from these games, and even a movie theater with full motion video from Sonic CD, and even some Japanese commercials from the early 1990s. It's a great package of games and content that falls just short of greatness. If it had the Sega Master System version of Sonic, as well as Sonic CD, it would have been a must-own piece of Sonic history. Even so, it stands as a fun collection of some of Sega's most iconic games. Don't shy away from the Japanese version of this game if you're interested. It's usually half the price of the Western releases. Sega would enlist the help of Traveler's Tales once again, this time with late 1997 Sonic R. While this wasn't Sonic's first dedicated racing game, it was his first fully polygonal outing. I won't blow smoke up your ass here, guys. I am not a big fan of this game. The gameplay has always felt like Sonic and his pals were Mack trucks instead of the acrobatic and maneuverable heroes you'd see depicted in other forms of media. For years, I even refused to play it any further, basically feeling like its gameplay warranted no more wasting of my time. I decided to give the game another chance after watching a friend of mine play it, and I must confess, I may have been a lot harder on it than I should have been. There is actually some depth here that I had not fully explored in my initial playings of the game. First are the collectibles to unlock various rewards. You can open new characters, power-ups, and even shortcuts this way, adding significant replay value. While not all shortcuts need to be opened, they all do provide various advantages to each race. These shortcuts are key to dominating the game, and provide ample exploration opportunities. The gameplay, which was the main problem I had with the game, is still something I do not fully enjoy, but after getting better at it, I can see the appeal more clearly. I had wanted this iteration of Sonic to play like I expected a 3D Sonic to play. This was simply not how the developer intended it to be. It's a racing game, and you need to approach it as such. The time trial mode allows excellent opportunity to get used to each track, and I can't stress enough how much more fun the game is once you know each track and how to navigate it. The graphics, while loaded with in-your-face draw-in, are smooth and very detailed. Each track looks like it belongs in a Sonic game, and some of the special effects are truly great looking. Many out there love the music to this too, and while I do not care for the vocalized stuff, the actual instrumentals are pretty damn good. Like Sonic Jam, the Japanese version of this is much less expensive than the Western version. You can get a mint complete copy of this in Japan for about $20 and sometimes less. For that little bit of scratch, I say take the plunge, keep an open mind, and give it a fair chance. It's not the greatest game in my opinion, but it certainly can be fun. Sonic X-Treme's absence at the start of the Saturn's life is perhaps one of Sega's biggest follies of that generation. Had there been a 3D Sonic, or hell even a 2.5D Sonic, I believe the Saturn's fate could have been very different. I don't think Sega could have done anything to actually defeat Sony that generation, but it may have given the Saturn enough initial boost to have a much better overall installed base in the West. I also believe that Sega actually had an ace up their sleeve they never used. Sonic CD was an excellent game that begged for a release on Saturn. The Sega CD and Mega CD add-on sold poorly, with about 2 million units sold globally. That means a fraction of Sega's audience had actually ever seen or played Sonic CD at that point. An enhanced Sonic CD port on Saturn could have been incredible. Increased color and graphics fidelity, new 3D bonus stages, access to both soundtracks, and perhaps some redone polygon elements to satisfy the demands of the time. And Sonic CD could have proven to be a big boon at the Saturn's US and European launches. No matter which way you spin the argument though, a lack of Sonic at the beginning of the Saturn's life definitely had a negative effect on Sega's fortunes. I want to thank you guys for watching my video and supporting my channel. Head on over to my Facebook page for info about giveaways and my thoughts on what's going on in retro gaming. If you like the channel and would like to lend your support, I have a direct PayPal link where you can do that now. You can also support me by getting your very own Sega Lord X merchandise, such as coffee mugs, shirts, and jackets. Thanks for watching. I'll catch you next time.